course, they reported this as hail damage. As you can see, this is the test square. Back slope is south facing. Just a bunch of degranulation. Nothing storm related. Check out these ridge caps. Nothing there. Let's check out these hips and ridges. Nothing there. Nothing there. I really don't even gotta look at the directional slopes of a roof if I don't see it on these ridges or the hips. It's just not there. Mind you, this is in an area where we don't get big enough hail to cause any significant damage to a roof. But yet, left slope, east facing, clean as hell. Contractor style with the window and no hail damage. My bad. Shit's funny, man. But real, keeps me in shape, and I'm getting paid regardless.
Okay. And then he posted some photos of real hail damage on a roof. And the photos were definitely clearly hail damage. Looking at still images of this roof, I see hail damage on it. He made a comment in here that really bothers me. He says he's not even going to look at the field shingles if he doesn't see it on the hips and the ridges. And then the ridge cap had shingle over ridge vent all over it, plastic ridge vent. Let me tell you something that I have discovered about the shingle over ridge vent. It's bouncy. If you've ever walked on one, you'll notice that the shingles bend in quite a bit, all right? It's got this plastic cover and the shingles are laid over that, and when hail hits it, it bounces, meaning that it will absorb the energy from the hail impact and won't have as much hail impact on it. I have been on a ton of hail damaged roofs where there was no damage at all on the ridge vent, on the ridge shingles that were on top of a shingle over ridge vent. And the only thing that I could come up with that would explain that is that it absorbed a lot of that impact energy. Now, he's pointed the camera downfield on the hip shingles as well and said that they were clean, and they clearly were not clean in this. In the very beginning of it, he holds the camera still enough for us to clearly see small circular to semicircular areas of localized granulosa. What else is that going to be? General degranulation and general wear and tear is uniform. There are other things that could make small circular localized areas of granulosa, like lichen, but there's no shadows on this roof. It could be man-made damages potentially, but he didn't mention anything about there being evidence of that. And from the photo that I'm looking at, it still looks randomly consistent. This guy is wrong here. I want to know if there's any collateral damages anywhere. What he ended up saying was this is in an area that doesn't get hail big enough to cause damage. And that is a very dangerous statement for an adjuster to make. If you're an insurance adjuster, listen up. Just because you're in an area that historically gets small hail doesn't mean that every hail event is small. Sometimes hail is bigger in those areas. To say that this area never does something is a ridiculous statement. On top of that, small hail does damage. I was able to prove it. Using my hail cannon, we actually wrote a paper that was peer-reviewed and published by the ASE journal that proves that 3/4 inch hail causes functional damage to architectural shingles. Now, what I see in this may not be functional damage. Maybe it's just granule loss, but granule loss is cosmetic damage at least. If you look at the IBHS, it's functional damage because it reduces the fire rating of the shingle. It reduces the impact resistance of the shingle. It reduces the lifespan of the shingle. So it's functional damage anyway, but even if it's only cosmetic, does your policy have an exclusion for cosmetic damage? I kind of doubt it. Most policies still don't for asphalt shingles. If it was a metal roof, you'd probably have an exclusion for it. If you live in an area that gets monster hail, there's probably an endorsement that reduces the coverage to only functional damage. But you just said in here that this is in an area that doesn't get big hail. Most likely, this is in an area where the policies still have coverage for cosmetic hail-caused damage or marring caused by hail. So unless you know that your policy has an exclusion for that, then you should be talking about the granule loss, that's small and circular patterns. It clearly is only on the windward slopes. Don't make assumptions. You're hurting policyholders when you do that. If you're an adjuster and you agree with me on this, or if you disagree, let's have the fight. Let's battle it out. Comment in here. Let's get this done. I want to have real dialogue on this because cosmetic damage is covered unless it's excluded. And if this isn't cosmetic damage, then I don't know what is. Now, I will say, I haven't seen any metal vents or anything on here to show that a hail event has occurred. So I don't see any soft metals with dents on it. But it doesn't look like there were any on this roof. So don't make assumptions.